skin cells, right? So it's taking in that stress. Not surprisingly, cancer is a disease of stress and aging. 85% of cancers arise from epithelial tissue because epithelial cells protect the body or other organs from various kinds of biological stress. And that's why that's the case. Those are actually called, as an aside, carcinomas. If you hear the word carcinoma, those are cancers of epithelial tissue. So they protect. Just think sun and skin. That's one way of thinking about it. They also create a barrier, which is the combination of adherents and tight junctions, which we'll talk about in a second. And they also are involved in massive secretion and absorption. An example there, as we'll talk a little bit later on, a little bit today, a little bit later on, like intestinal cells, mammary cells, so forth, that those are three very important functions of epithelial tissue. Okay? So, in terms of protection, again, just think of UV light from the sun hitting the cells, protecting you. But also your liver's surrounded by this, all your other organ systems. The barrier function has to do with a combination of tight junctions and adherent structures. Okay, here's the basement membrane. Here's the tight junction. TJ is tight junction. Okay? Adherent junction is AJ. When these epithelial cells come together, you got the contact and then the sealing. You obviously cannot have sealing unless you have contact. And you can have contact without sealing, depending on what's going on in the tissue at that time. And these guys create a semi-permeable barrier. One other thing. So these guys create a barrier so that only, say, X can get through, but Z cannot get through. So this combination causes a selective barrier or selective permeability. Okay? So, and this is extremely important in how your tissues come together. And it's this combination of adherents and tight junctions will do this. Okay? So they work together. And again, both of these are belts. I'm drawing this, there's a limitation on the blackboard, but these are belts of adhesion. Okay, and belts of sealing. Okay? So let me just give you an example. Why would you ever want selective permeability? And the way to talk about this permeability is in between the cells. Okay? Paracellular transport, don't even know that term. But we're talking about transport in between the cells, not through the cell, but in between the cells. And the two very good examples. One is, as you go from pregnancy to lactation or milk production, you get an increase in tight junctions. Again, TJ is tight junctions. Because as you go into lactation, you want to create a barrier in the mammary duct. And that barrier, bring over here, that barrier is, because of the following. Here's the lumen of the mammary gland. During lactation, what's the big thing in lactation? You want to produce milk, right, for the baby? So these are these epithelial cells producing milk proteins, such as casein, and you want these going out the nipple during lactation. But what you don't want are the milk proteins to come back through the cells, back into the blood system. Here's the blood system on the side. You want to prevent that from going on. So you have very tight junctions during lactation. You keep the milk proteins in the lumen of the mammary gland. Secondly, your blood has all sorts of hormones. H, by the way, will be hormones for the next 12 lectures or so. These hormones, you want them to regulate these cells, but you don't want the hormones to get into the lumen of the mammary gland, at least the ones you don't want to get through. So these, and this is all regulated because these very tight junctions that come up during lactation. So the milk stays in the lumen, the hormones stays outside the lumen. So you have selective transport. Milk proteins can't get through, and the hormones can't get through, so everybody's happy and it works. Everybody see that? A little bit, very good question. It's a little bit on size, a little bit on selective properties of the molecule, hydrophobic versus whatever. You can have, after the mother's done milk, like eating the milk, you have what's called involution, and you lose pretty much all the tight junctions. You keep the adherence junctions, but you lose the tight junctions. Then you have a little more easy movement. But at that point, you're not making milk proteins anyway when you're done with lactation. Okay, very good question. But you can get some fairly big molecules through. Depends on the property, and depends on the need. So it's a selective permeability. The other example of this is in the intestinal cell. So these are very big cells. Here's your intestinal gut. And you have various nutrients, just extra nutrients. You want the nutrients to go into the cell itself. Okay? So you want those absorbed. What you don't want are the nutrients to go in between the cells. Because then you can't absorb it properly into your circulatory system. So you have very tight junctions to prevent these nutrients and other stuff in your intestines to go in between the cells. In the case of multiple organ dysfunction, one of the things that happens is in the intestinal cell, you lose tightness of the tight junctions in the intestines. A lot of these nutrients go in between the cells, they're not absorbed, and those individuals have a lot of trouble taking in nutrients to keep their body going. Okay? And you guys will see that. It's a very big problem. As people age, get much older, and have lots of problems throughout their body, this multiple organ dysfunction is a big-time complication. Okay? Question? Okay, the other thing that dictates some of this is the shape of these cells. And there's lots of different, there's general categories of shapes that dictate function. There's something called squamous, which are flat cells, and can be very leaky. We'll talk about that in a second. You also have, columnar cells, shape, which are very like column-like. And these are very good at secretion and absorption. We'll say massive secretion and absorption. An example is the intestines. Intestines have to take in a lot of stuff. And the intestinal epithelial cells are columnar. They have really big cytoplasms. They can take in a lot, and other cells that have to secrete a lot, like your stomach cells, for example, are columnar. And you also have what's called cuboidal, or cube-like. And these are more for specialized secretion, such as in endocrine glands that produce hormones. There are other cell types there also. The hormones come out of cuboidal cells. In addition to shape, you also have layers. There's a couple of those, but the ones to think about are simple, which is one cell layer, or stratified, greater than one layer. You also have something I can piece of chalk. You also have something called pseudo-stratified, And pseudo-stratified, you don't really need to know this. I think the nasal passages are pseudo-stratified. I'm not 100% sure. Where it looks like multiple layers, but because of the weird shape of the cells, it's actually one layer. When you look at a microscope, it looks like multiple layers. So it's called pseudo-stratified. Now, a good distinction of simple versus stratified and changing function is with your squamous cells. What did I say about the leakiness of squamous cells in general? Yes or no, leaky? Yeah, right, I wrote it on there, very good. They are leaky. Sometimes you want leakiness. Sometimes leakiness is good, and that's in a capillary. As we'll talk a lot about in the last couple weeks of the lecture. Capillaries. Here's a capillary. These are all cells around a capillary. Capillaries are made up of simple squamous. Because in capillaries, you want these molecules to go back and forth. You want them to attempt to hit equilibrium with the surrounding environment. You don't want a large barrier to prevent this. So capillaries tend to be simple squamous. Skin, on the other hand, you don't want a lot of, you want some leakiness, like with the sweat, things like that. But you want a lot of, you don't want it ridiculously leaky. So skin cells sit on a basement membrane, and you've got 3 layers. And this is stratified squamous. And this allows abrasion in 3 layers. So I have 4 kids, and I can't tell you how many times they've cut themselves, fallen down. I always carry like packages of Band-Aids with me and stuff like that. And the point is, you allow for abrasion. That's why you have multiple layers. And the leakiness is cut down a bit, because you have 3 layers of it. But you have a little bit of leakiness, more so than any other cell types. So capillaries and skin are both made of squamous. One is simple, one is stratified, totally different functions. What would if a capillary was made of stratified squamous? What would happen to your ability to equilibrate molecules? It'd be rapidly reduced, right? So functionality plays a role here. Okay, questions on epithelial cells? Repeat my question? Okay, what if capillary cells were made of stratified squamous? Think about what the ramifications are. Okay, there's something like that. There's a question similar to that in Reader, I think. Okay, all right. Connective tissue. Connective tissue, basically you have a cell, and the bulk of the tissue is called extracellular matrix. Okay, so in connective tissue, it's the stuff that gets pushed outside. Proteins, saccharides, whatever, can go out of that. Okay? Connective tissue is the broadest range of tissues. And in connective tissue, the extracellular matrix has a lot of different textures. So if you look at the cell type, this is called ECM, extracellular matrix, the cell and extracellular matrix. You can have solids. So you can have, the cell type says osteoblasts, the extracellular matrix is bone, solid stuff. You can have chondrocytes. ECM is cartilage. Okay, that can be solid. It can also be jelly-like. And that is, you can have adipocytes, and you can have lipid droplets. And it can be liquid. You can have blood cells. There's a bunch of blood cells that can form plasma. So your blood is actually connective tissue, technically. Okay? So the extracellular matrix can take on a lot of different shapes and forms. In addition, you produce a lot of stuff interconnecting your body. So we have loose connective tissue. I don't know why this term ever came about. And the cells are fibroblasts. You have a lot of fibroblasts in your body. And these guys produce fibers. Collagen or collagenous fibers. Whoop. Collagen fibers, which provide strength. You've got elastic fibers. For elasticity, elastic, they'll be right up and down because it's elastic. And you have reticular fibers. This actually cross-links or cross-links all of your organs. So in case of reticular fibers, if I just jump up and down, as you can see, my liver stays in the same place. And that's because reticular fibers are in there holding it all together. What would be your prediction if you had a defect in the collagen fibers? These are all interconnected, all your organs and stuff. If you had virtually no collagen fibers, a lot less, what would you predict about all your fibers? If you don't have strength, what do you have left up there? Elasticity and cross-linking, right? And there's a syndrome called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or Danlo, as it's a French person. They have very reduced collagen expression. And they have the predicted result here. They have hyperelasticity. These are the people, and some extreme versions, can take the bottom of their face and move it up to their forehead, for example. And they have digits, not just double jointedness. They can take every one of their digits and bend them backwards, just like totally bend them backwards. Also, they have problems with their vascular system. They have connective tissue around all your blood vessels. They have very fragile blood vessels. So they have hyperelasticity. This is a syndrome some of you guys may see. Okay? So these are, and collagen, by the way, is the most abundant protein. So if you have a lot less of it, you can have problems. All right, questions? Yeah, I mean, it's a disease to me? Yeah, it's a syndrome, so there's actually 6, 7 different manifestations of it, but that is definitely one of them. So if you want to look that up, it's actually just it's a set of 4 or 5. There's a vascular form and strictly a skin, collagen form. You have multiple types of collagen, so it depends which collagen is affected. That's a very good question. But you guys may see this clinically, not too many years from now, actually. Okay. Now you also have fibrous tissue, fibrous connective tissue. You have ligaments that do bone-bone interactions. These are the ones coming back from ski season. You see a lot of people who have breaks and strains in ligaments. You have tendons. Then there are muscle-bone connections. People that go on performance-enhancing drugs will build up a lot of muscle in an unusual way. They can have a lot of problems with their tendons snapping because they're not designed to hold that much muscle mass, for example. That's a common kind of thing that happens. But these are connective tissues. Questions on connective tissues? Yes? Yeah, it's a tissue defined by having a large extracellular matrix, much more so than the actual cell number itself. All cells have extracellular matrix, but these guys have an unusual amount, very specialized function, like bone. It's a very specialized type of function of an extracellular matrix. Also, 15% of cancers, or 12%, come from connective tissue. Those are called sarcomas. So you can have cancer in your certain kinds of connective tissue. All right? You don't need to know that. They're probably fibroblasts related. Very good question. Don't need to know that. Okay? In the last minute here, just briefly starting on nervous tissue. Nervous tissue has neurons. We'll talk about the structure probably Wednesday. And in addition, you have a lot of other cells called glial cells, which there's actually many types. And in your nervous tissue, you have about 10 to 50 times the number of glial cells as you do neurons. So even though the nervous system, you think of neurons, actually glial cells keep up the bulk of it. Okay? And since I cannot get into nervous tissue within the next 45 seconds, nor will I even think about attempting it, well, any questions? There's not quite done. We have 30 more seconds. Yes? There's a lot more glial. There's 10 to 50 times more glial cells. These guys provide the nutrients and insulation and other functions to the neurons. Okay? All right, I can't answer it right now. Give me 1 second. Okay? All right. We'll see you guys Wednesday. We'll pick up with nervous tissue.